I was originally planning on doing nursing as as my major. I was going to do emergency room nursing and then move on to critical care. I worked at an emergency room in Germany where I lived before, and I saw that they needed people for the rescue squad, and it sounded like a good idea, so I joined up.
Um, I don't really know. I really like working with people, so I'm definitely interested in that kind of field. I saw the club at Rock the Block, and I thought it'd be really interesting to try, and so I signed up for the academy, and I enjoy doing the academy, kinda. Um, and I really enjoy responding to calls.
It was one of those things that when I was younger, I always wanted to help people. When I wanted to be a doctor and stuff. But as the years progressed, I knew doctor wasn't completely set for me, so I continued on and just helped people out as I could, and this was the best fit for me.
And so ever since then, and seeing the guys that came on the ambulance and the fire truck and all that, and seeing that they were the ones that were really there to help them, and the initial first aid that I had to do when I saw him go down, um, I knew at that point that I could definitely get some use out of some further training.
Also a way to pay for my education, so that's why I decided to join it and then further my studies after that.
The commitment involved to do EMS work on this campus for free is significant. So you're talking about a student or students who are trying to balance everything else that we just talked about, family, life, academics, money, with a significant commitment to EMS, which may keep them up ridiculous hours sometimes, which is going to require a lot of their time and their resources. The other stressors, I think, would be specific to doing EMS work on campus. I think most of the students here are well trained, who are in pretty good shape in terms of their personality and their ability to tolerate stress. But let's be honest, a lot of the situations that EMS responders find themselves involved in on campus, they're going to be going out and seeing difficult situations. They're going to be going out and seeing emotionally charged situations. There's likely to be law enforcement involvement. There's likely to be all sorts of things going on. In addition to the fact that in certain situations they might be dealing with people in life and death circumstances. And certainly, as I said, most of them will do just fine with it. Most of them will manage the stress associated with that perfectly well. But sometimes over time, or sometimes a specific acute incident can be enough to really knock somebody off their bearings, at least temporarily.
Well, there's a lot of interesting ones, but I'm gonna have to go with one where the patient had difficulty breathing and chest pain. That was definitely a pretty interesting and stressful call. It was pretty crazy on scene, so yeah, that'll be it.
I've had a couple of violent patients. I've had patients assault me.
Got dispatched to a alcoholic patient which was on the floor, and whenever we asked him questions, all he would do was swear at us, and when we asked him his name, he'd be like, "Screw off" and whatnot.
A very emergency call where we got toned out for general sickness and got there to find out that the girl was having severe difficulty breathing and eventually was life flighted to UMass Memorial.
Um, my most stressful would probably be one of my closest friends because I knew him the most, and I got called to him, and I watched him go through every level of being alert to being unconscious and not being able to respond.
I also had one for an allergic reaction, or a possible allergic reaction, and that was pretty stressful too, because we weren't really sure what was going on. It's a pretty dire situation.
The most stressful call would probably be the 3900 attempt that I was on because it's one of those things you can prep how to bandage someone, you can prep how to splint someone, you can prep how to strap someone down to the backboard from a bad fall, but there's not as much we can do for someone who who isn't very happy with life because we don't have the power to fix it.
Critical incident stress debriefing was developed by a fellow named Jeff Mitchell down in Maryland. He was both a first responder and a psychologist. And what he found, and this is going back some years now, the model is probably 15 years old if I had to guess. What he found is that there weren't any real services in place for first responders.
EMS organizations have a situation called, or have a program called a CISD, or Critical Incident Stress Debriefing. And they actually have teams for the state that gets sent out after a major accident's happened, or a lot of times you'll see it with mass casualty incidents.
So he used his skills and knowledge as a psychologist as well as his skills and knowledge as a first responder to come up with this model that encourages people who have been exposed, and again, it's built for first responders, but people who have been exposed to a quote-unquote critical incident where safety was at risk, where children were involved, or where there was real trauma that was witnessed. The model basically gives opportunity for an individual who has been exposed to that stuff to talk their way through it, to be referred for additional services if needed, to be assessed to see if there's anything particularly problematic about how they're responding to that particular incident.
I handle stress a whole number of ways. They're probably the biggest defense we have against stress is our friends.
In general, I usually just hang out with my friends.
It depends. Sometimes I'll go for a walk. Maybe just hang out with friends.
The majority of my friends are also in the same boat as me. So the ability to just talk to each other and really, say, hey, that last call I had was, that one's just sticking with me.
How do most students handle stress? A lot of variability there.
I really like to bake, so I bake when I get stressed out.
Working out. I go for runs.
How do I handle stress? I don't know. I just go usually back to my room, to my computer, go on Facebook.
I don't know, play video games.
Drink a lot of caffeine.
But that's how I handle stress. Facebook.
Then it's really helpful to be able to talk to someone, and especially someone that understands where you're coming from because they've been in a similar situation.
Sometimes students just talking about what's going on is incredibly helpful for them, and they find that it sort of decreases and helps them to manage stress, just having someone objective to talk to.
To help handle their stress, I would say probably find something that helps reduce your stress. A lot of people, it changes by person to person. Video games seems to help a lot of people. Going to the gym helps too. It's just something that helps take your mind off everything and just helps you relax.
You're gonna make mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. Never regret a mistake, though. You should never regret a learning experience. Every mistake, every time you're overstressed, is always a way to learn for the future. So you take these lessons and you use them to better yourself and better your skills. And it just takes time. Over time, you won't be stressed anymore. It'll just be another call.